First of all, I would just like to introduce myself. I'm a builder. I'm from the private sector. However, I'm a board member of a housing association. I work actively with the Scottish Federation of Housing Associations. I'm a member of the Chartered Institute of Housing. I work closely with the Scottish Building Federation, Homes for Scotland, and I'm an ambassador for the Skills Scotland. Anyway, enough about me. Some facts about Scotland you may or not know. Small part of the UK with devolved housing administration. About an eighth of the UK population live in Scotland. Unemployment just now is just slightly under the UK at 8.1%. However, the concern for me is the number of young people, the percentage of young people that are currently unemployed. In terms of GDP, prior to the credit crunch, 14% in Scotland and around about 10% in the UK. The fact below, just before I sent this presentation off, I went round my 17 construction sites in Scotland just to assess the nationalities of people that are actually working on them, and rough estimate was 60% were Scottish and 40% were made up largely of European nationalities. I intend to talk about two things today and be fairly brief, having 8 minutes to present, and that is firstly about supply and then the knock-on effect on employment. This is the last 12-13 years of house building in Scotland, and as you can see, since the credit crunch and events of 2007, it has continued to drop, and where will it go from here? The Scottish Government in 2007 launched a paper that 35,000 new homes were required annually to reverse declining affordability. But yet, the recent budget, they've just cut the housing budget in Scotland by around about 30%. And back to the previous graph, the housing production now is as low as it was in 1926. And we are set to complete about 16,000 houses this year, which isn't even half of the 35,000 figure the Scottish Government said was required. The Scottish Government also said in their manifesto last year that 30,000 new affordable homes would be committed to. Only 20,000 of these are for social rent. Again, back to the 35,000 required annually. Asking for the private sector to build more houses in the current economic climate and lack of mortgage finance is clearly not happening. But yet we have 335,000 households currently on waiting lists. Why invest in housing? This was just released a few months ago by the Chief Executive of the Scottish House Builders Federation, based on a report of the generated income from investment into the industry. Reality, Q3 of 2011, 49 Scottish construction companies went into liquidation, which is up 63% from Q3 in 2010. That's 40,000 construction jobs in Scotland. And Homes for Scotland estimate that half of private house building jobs have also been lost, and many more jobs that are indirectly related to the industry. The case for housing investment, clearly an economic benefit. Construction's always been said to be one of the best ways to stimulate economic activity. Employment for deprived communities. Some statistics that were done in 2007 show roughly 60% of people working in the industry come in lower skilled and have relatively fewer employment opportunities. And the housing association sector in Scotland has done remarkably in terms of ensuring there is social return on investment in when investments made into affordable housing. This was some supporting evidence from the UK Contractor Group regarding the construction economy in the UK. For every pound spent, it generates £2.84. Now that's the direct investment. That's the knock-on effects of the supply chain and the construction, manufacturing, building products, etc. And then the induced impact of the increase in household income. Invest now, really, for jobs. A company in Scotland, a construction company in Scotland, has just put 25%, that's a quarter of their workforce, on redundancy notice just last month. It's now 2012, 5 years on, and the industry just continues to get worse until investment's made. Meeting housing need, which is now at crisis levels. The lack of supply is increasing the demand. It was said earlier about the importance of shelter, which was also noted in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The reliance on the private sector to try and invest into housing isn't there. There's no mortgage finance, and people are struggling to get deposits. Every unemployed person is costing the taxpayer £8,000. As a country, we're actually paying people not to work. Before 2007, the UK construction industry employed 3 million people and 300,000 firms. And construction has had the largest reduction rate of redundancy rate since the recession. And we need to invest now to help secure people's long-term futures in the industry. Just a small story before I finish. Waits invest in a project called Building Futures, and it's focused at taking people that have been in long-term unemployment, in fact some people that have never actually worked, and giving them the necessary skills, training, and just general confidence levels, and give them a job in construction. Been involved in it personally in Scotland. It's a fantastic scheme, and we have been unable to do this scheme this year because of the lack of investment into house building, which we do. And again, just it's in terms of unemployment in the sector, we need to invest.